Hello, everybody. Today I'm going to be talking about Chapter 19 of the Bio/Marine Bio thingy class. I don't know. And yeah, that includes like protists and other cool stuff like that. So I'm just going to talk about protists right now. So protists are divided into three different groups or classes. We'll just call it three different groups of protists, and they are plant-like protists. So I'm actually going to give a little bit of background here. So protists are just they don't really fit anything. They're one of the the protist is a kingdom that falls under the domain Eukarya, which is everything with a nucleus, and so they have a nucleus. They are living as well, and yeah, they're just very interesting, but they are kind of misfits. They don't really have a place to go, so they are put into the kingdom Protista, and so they're divided into three groups, which include plants, which are plant-like. Excuse me, they're not plants, which are called algae. Those make food. There are animals, which are animal-like. Excuse me, which are called protozoans, and fungus, which feed on the dead stuff, dead matter. So plants like are divided into their color. So this is important to know. So they're just algae. So plant-like protists are algae, and so they are divided by their pigments. There are euglenoids, diatoms, which have carotenoids. There are dinoflagellates, which have two flagella. They're algal blooms, and they create the red tides. And then there's green, which are the chlorophyll primary pigment. And there are red, which are called what is it? Phycobilins? Yeah. And they're second in deep water. And then there's brown, which are carotenoid. So those are pretty important to know, like which color is which. And my favorite, personally, are diatoms, and they're the one in the middle with the cool little rectangles. I just love diatoms. I think they're fascinating, beautiful, and cool, you know? For fungus. No, let's go in order for what I was doing before. Animal-like protozoans. Those, like, they feed on food, such as the algae, I believe, is one of them. So they like, yeah. So they consume the other food. So what do they consume? Well, that's a great question. Honestly, don't really know. I'm gonna have to look it up real quick. So I looked it up, and it's bacteria, yeast, fungi, and algae, which is pretty cool. I was correct with the algae. That they do consume algae, but animal-like protists, which are called protozoans, are they're classified by movement. So they have ciliate. They're ciliates, which use cilia to move. I know. Oh my god, how is it possible to memorize these? So hard. So they use ciliates to move. I'm actually going to pull up a picture of them as I go along. Okie doke, we're back in business. And these are ciliates. Ciliates include the beautiful paramecium. I love paramecium. I don't know why, but yeah, they're cool. I don't know. They're so beautiful. Look at that. I believe F is a paramecium, and it would be probably best to know how to label one. But those are ciliates, and then there's amoebas, which I'll pull up right now. This is a fantastic amoeba. So, as you can see, I have a little labeling because you gotta know, you know. So there's those they use their pseudopods to like eat and stuff. They're like little blobs that pop out and there's like so you can see it says pseudopodia on there, and that's basically just like an extension of its what's it called? Oh my god, how do I not know this? And no, they're what's it called? Oh my goodness, it's like that like goo inside, inside cells. Cytoplasm. Yeah, not like I did a whole project on cytoplasm. Anywho, next up, Apicomplexa. This is the lovely Apicomplexa. So beautiful. Oh wow. So those like reproduce with spores. Yep, they got little spores to reproduce. That's pretty much all you need to know about those. Zooflagellates. Zooflagellates. These are pretty cool for a few reasons. I have a bunch of facts on here that you can look at, but I'm not going to say them because they're pretty self-explanatory, I guess you could say. Euglena is an example of one that might be important to remember. I don't know. But they swim with their flagella. I know it's so hard to remember, but I believe you guys can do it. Yeah. Okie dokie, time for things like protists, epicness. So there's water molds, downy mildews, and slime molds. As the name might suggest, they do need water to survive, just to keep that nice moist environment. The compound specifically being H2O, but y'all know what that is. If you don't, I'm a little concerned, to be quite frank with you. But yeah. And finally, the giant kelp. Gotta do this. One sec. And finally, the giant kelp. Sorry, which it is like. Gotta remember that part. It's got the blade, which will be known as the leaf, but in giant kelp it's the blade. We have the gas bladder and the frond, which is the whole section of that. The stipe, which would be called the stem in a regular plant, and finally the holdfast, which would be called the roots. Finally, the algae, which you can't really see. Sorry, the photo is a little bit blurry. But we have the different types of algae. Red algae are called, the red are called phycobilins, I don't know. And that's like the type of pigment they have. The brown have the carotenoid pigment, and the green have chlorophyll pigment. What's it called? Just chlorophyll, primary pigment. And dinoflagellates, they have, I'll pull them up actually one sec. This is an example of a dinoflagellate, which they have two flagella. They make up algal blooms and red tides. And then there's also the diatoms, which was at the beginning of the video, the middle, the biggest image, I think. And yeah, then there's also euglenoids, which, one sec. This is a euglenoid, and 1 second. Euglenoids. Very cool. These bad boys have chloroplasts. They have two flagella rooted in their basal bodies. It's very cool. And they have like a gullet and a food reservoir, which you can see they also have an eye spot, pellicles, just important things to know when you're dealing with this. Thank you, and have a lovely day. This concludes my video.